Welcome to an introduction of the Tualatin High School SIP. My name is Mariana Garcia. Three areas that interested me while reading the SIP were ninth grade attendance, office discipline referrals, and exclusionary practices. For me, these three are interconnected and align with our equity goal of ensuring engagement for all students, regardless of background or ability. Leading this work, I would start with ninth grade attendance initiatives, having proactive action by implementing systems to identify students with early attendance concerns, for example, absences more than 3 times in the first month of school, and providing immediate support through mentors and counselors and making sure we're monitoring data closely. We would also work on family engagement, regularly communicating with our families with a curious approach about the importance of attendance and offering resources or supports for families facing barriers consistent with school attendance, for example, transportation or health concerns, making sure we are having positive, curious conversations with our families and not just punitive ones. Office discipline referrals, restorative practices, providing professional development on restorative justice and collaborative problem solving to our staff, behavioral support teams, where we will have multidisciplinary team members identifying function of behaviors to implement interventions and support for students, equity lens and equity meetings, regularly reviewing discipline by data of race, ability, gender, and other factors to identify any disparities and using this data to make further decisions. Having tiered behavioral supports, creating systems including universal strategies for all students, targeted supports for those at risk, and intensive supports for students with chronic behavioral challenges. All these initiatives are woven together to create an educational environment that prioritizes engagement, supports, and success for all students, contributing to a school culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity in education, which will also support our ninth grade on track goal. Exclusionary practices, making sure our staff is looking at behavior as a means of communication, and with that we would work on restorative alternatives, using first-time mistakes as teachable moments to create awareness and help students grow rather than being excluded or disciplined the first time a behavior arises. Professional development, training our staff on cultural competences, trauma-informed practices, and alternative discipline methods. Collaboration with our community partners, for example, mental health specialists that can come and support students who might be at risk of being excluded due to behavioral or personal challenges. And having clear communication and accountability, having clear and transparent guidelines for addressing behavior issues and making sure they are accessible to all stakeholders, including students, staff, families, and referring to these policies when problems arise. While looking at the SIP on page 5, it was noted, when considering student voice data in the form of ninth grade surveys and in consideration of observations and learning walks, it was determined that the root cause is a combination of attendance, engagement, teacher instructional scaffold strategies, and specifically a higher percentage of classroom instruction time dedicated to structured student talk. One potential blind spot for the current SIP lies on the lack of explicit strategies to measure student voice and agency. Looking at this with that curiosity lens, I wonder, how do students feel about change in grading, instruction, scaffolds, and supports? Are we providing equitable opportunities for every student to voice their opinions and feelings about changes being made? Are students seeing themselves as capable scholars, specifically in core con areas? Does the current plan benefit all students, including those who are marginalized and at a disadvantage? Ideas to consider would include increasing opportunities for productive discourse, student focus groups or reflective panels, inclusion of diverse voices. These groups can provide opportunities for students from diverse backgrounds and abilities to share their experiences, challenges, and successes in the classroom, building trust and ownership, implementing student feedback when considering establishing classroom practices, allowing students to see that their voices are being heard, which will help not only increase equity but also trust between students and staff. Looking at student-led data conversations with staff. These conversations can bridge the gap between the staff and students, helping them create dialogue around the ideas that they would like to be supported when addressing their needs. Empowerment and agency. Teachers invite students to analyze their work, providing students valuable skills in self-reflection and accountability, fostering ownerships in their education. Thank you for listening to my ideas to support Tualatin High School. I look forward to working with you all.